Custom ROMs. It's been more than 10 years I'm into it, and it still feels something being a part of this community. I mean, if you try to explain what a custom ROM is and how to install it to a person who knows nothing about it, he or she may think that you're a weirdo, or a person who gets orgasms by fixing bugs which were created by himself. How cool is that? I'm telling you, if you are an Android user and never heard of custom ROM, you are surely missing a whole lot of frustration and living your life in happiness. And as Rian Higa, the OG Nika Higa once said, if your life has no problems, you are not living it. You are not living your life. But don't worry, I have a solution for you. You just have to follow some simple steps to start living your life again. So pick your phone up and unlock the bootloader, flash a custom recovery, flash a custom ROM, and try to make yourself satisfied. And now you have successfully created many unnecessary problems in your life. Now live with it. But we are not here to discuss about upsides and downsides of custom ROMs. At least not today. Instead, we will go through the glorious past, the struggling present, and the controversial future of custom ROMs, which is yet to come. So without wasting my time, let me start the real video. Everything started with the release of the HTC Dream in October 2008. This device. It was the first commercially released device with the Linux-based Android operating system. Android is an open source platform, and because of that, the developers was quickly able to discover a software exploit which would allow a user to gain super user access to their device, which we nowadays refer as rooting. This enabled users to perform tweaks and changes at the system level, which was not possible before. And because of that, it was possible to unlock the bootloader of the HTC Dream. Bootloader in Linux is a program that loads the operating system and the kernel into memory and initiates, as the name suggests, the boot process. Soon after that, some humans who were desperately searching for their purpose behind their lives started working on modifying it so that they could install third-party firmwares, and also converted the official update files into a format which was installable via the modified bootloader. Google noticed that and decided to give more humans the purpose of their life. So they released the Android Dev Phone 1. It was basically an unlocked version of the HTC Dream, which is pre-configured for super user access, allowing users to completely replace the bootloader and the operating system. As a result, who have already found their purpose of their life started to build their own societies like XDA Developers, along with the creation of custom firmware called ROMs. Well, jokes apart, in August 2012, a group of users released an unofficial port of Android 4.1 Jelly Bean for the dying HTC Dream as a proof of concept to, well, completely make it a useful paperweight, because the port had severe performance issues due to the phone's weak hardware in comparison to that time's modern devices that Android 4.1 Jelly Bean was originally designed for. But that was only the beginning. Soon after the CyanogenMod, which was originally founded in 2009 and discontinued in November 2016, the custom ROM community started to grow very rapidly. Loads of custom ROMs started to pop out of nowhere, making sick ROM nerds more sick. In 2011, Android OpenCang project, in 2012, Resurrection Remix, and in 2017, PixelExperience was released, making customer flashes go crazy. And they started to flush custom ROMs every day without knowing why. But sadly, all of these legendary projects are now marked as discontinued. Fortunately, there are still some great ROMs alive till date and getting updates regularly, like crDroid, Paranoid Android, and the LineageOS, which itself is the successor of the original CyanogenMod. And also some security and privacy focused ROMs like GrapheneOS and EOS are also available. although they are available for limited devices, especially for Google Pixels. But who cares? Now let's talk about the present. To be honest, custom ROMs in present time is still going well, but the things are a bit different now, a bit complicated. Now Google has implemented some safety features to protect users' data from hackers. Yes, Google will protect your data. Sadly, it's making it hard to use a custom ROM as a daily driver. You cannot get everything. Implementation of PlayIntegrity API, the biggest reason for it. If you have only one phone, then I'm guessing you also use your banking apps along with the custom ROM in it. All the banking apps now use PlayIntegrity API to check modifications, and because it's hard to bypass, you may find it difficult. No, you will surely find it difficult to use these apps in your custom ROM, especially in LineageOS. But before PlayIntegrity API, Safetynet was first introduced by Google in 2014. It used to perform two checks which were pretty easy to bypass. The CTS profile match. It was to ensure the device is running an official, unmodified software certified by Google. And the basic integrity check. It detects whether the device is rooted, has an unlocked bootloader, or a tempered system. If a device failed these checks, apps like Netflix, Pokemon Go, and banking apps could refuse to work. But in June 2022, Google deprecated Safetynet in favor of the evil PlayIntegrity API, and by 2025, Safetynet is going to be fully phased out, and the PlayIntegrity API will become the new standard. It is harder to bypass, has more checks, and is more future-proof. So Google loved it. Now let's learn a little bit about the PlayIntegrity API. The types of checks in PlayIntegrity API are 4 in total. 3 are for the mobile device and 1 is for the virtual machine. The first one is called the basic integrity. It's a basic check for ensuring the app is not running on an emulator or a heavily modified environment. Next is device integrity. It is to ensure the device is not rooted, the bootloader is locked, and the system integrity is intact. And then the strong integrity. It is the highest level of security. It checks whether the device is certified, unmodified, and running a stock firmware. And lastly, the virtual integrity. It detects whether the app is running on a real device or a virtual machine. Now you started to find the modules, the methods, and the apps, and the files, and you searched everywhere. Trusted a random Chinese guy on Telegram and flushed a suspiciously named module. And finally you have passed all the integrity checks. And you feel like you have put your middle finger inside the big hole of the G in the Google. The next thing you have to do is to hide the root status and also the traces of custom ROM. Because many apps don't work if they detect you are using a custom ROM or have root access, even if you are passing all the integrity checks. Some apps even scan your installed app list to check whether you have sideloaded malicious apps or not, like modified APK files. To be honest, for a normal user dealing with all these, to use custom ROM is not ideal at all. And there is no security that all the methods working now will work in the next update. So the user have to be up to date all the time. And applications which requires all this to work actually exists. They are not hypothetical. Well, they are mostly banking apps and some games and some government apps. Yet, the future is bright for Google. Looking at the present state and the changes made by Google, we can predict that in upcoming days it's going to be more complicated to use a custom ROM as daily driver. There are three major reasons I can come up with by going through all the researches and being an active member of this community. The first one is Google's strict security measures. PlayIntegrity API is harder to bypass in its current form, making banking apps, DRM contents, and even games more difficult to use on a custom ROM. and future security measures could further restrict modifications, making it even harder to pass Google's checks. Stock ROM is improving. Many OEMs now offer cleaner, more stock-like experience with features that previously required a custom ROM, and also providing longer software support reduces the need for custom ROMs just to extend a device lifespan. Proprietary hardware and firmware locks. Some brands are making bootloader unlocking more difficult and even not allowing it at all. Also, lack of proprietary drivers for cameras, lack of AI features, and hardware accelerations means custom ROMs often lack full functionality compared to stock firmwares. Honestly, if you buy a mid-range phone by doing some research about all the things that matters to you, you can happily use that phone for 4 to 5 years without worrying about all the play integrity API and all these nonsenses. Just live your life and touch some grass. Despite all the changes, the custom ROM community is far from end. It is after all a rule of nature that old things will be replaced by new and improved version of them. At least it applies on Google's end. The number of custom ROM users may become less, very less. Maybe number of device support will also become less, very less. But the excitement of rooting, flashing ROMs, modes will always be the same. Theoretically, Google's aggressive approach towards safety net and privacy is increasing challenges for custom ROM community. And it's true. If more apps started to demand strong integrity and harden their root checks, we are doomed. Maybe there will still be some workarounds, but not a permanent solution. And you'll need to be more updated about them to quickly apply fixes as soon as they break. Also, Google is constantly blocking the leaked Keybox files, which is necessary to bypass the strong integrity, making it even more frustrating. Yes, very much frustrating. With that saying, that's all for today, and we'll see you in the next video, hopefully.